Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session, Shaping Global AI Governance Through Multi-Stakeholder Action, where we are pleased to present the Freedom Online Coalition's Joint Statement on Artificial Intelligence and Human Rights 2025. My name is Zach Lampel. I'm Senior Legal Advisor and Coordinator for Digital Rights at the International Center for Not-for-Profit Law. I'm also pleased to be a co-chair of the Freedom Online Coalition's Task Force on AI and Human Rights with the government of the Netherlands and the government of Germany. I want to welcome Mr. Rasmus Lumi, Director General for International Organizations and Human Rights with the government of Estonia and the chair of the Freedom Online Coalition in 2025.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It is a great honor for me to be here today to welcome you all to this session on the issue of AI and human rights. I don't think I'm being original when I say that it is very fitting for that session that I had ChatGPT write up my notes that I should be saying here. However, having read through what it gave to me, I decided not to use them. But maybe I am using them. Would you know or would you not know? I think ChatGPT is a great proof how far we've come with AI tools. And now it really is time to make sure that we are able to put the human rights and humans in the center of this development. It is important to make sure that we do not feel or are deceived by the extremely smart artificial intelligence. And when I read through the notes that it offered me, it did say all the right things, which is totally understandable. The question is that did it do it on purpose, maybe maliciously, trying to deceive us into thinking that AI also believes in human rights. So we'll have to take care of this, and this joint statement that we have developed under the leadership of the Netherlands is exactly one step in the way of doing this, putting humans in the center of AI development. So I would like to take this opportunity to very much thank the Netherlands for leading this discussion, this preparation in the Freedom Online Coalition, and I hope that the coalition and also elsewhere this work will continue in order to make sure that humans and human rights will remain in the focus of all technological development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now turn the floor to Ambassador Ernst Norman, the Cyber Ambassador for the Netherlands.
Thank you very much, Zach, and thank you, Rasmus, for your words. While leaders at this moment gather in The Hague to discuss defense and security, we are here to address a different but equally urgent task, protecting human rights in the age of AI. These are not separate. Human rights and security are, or should be, two sides of the same coin. When rights are eroded, when civic space shrinks, when surveillance escapes oversight, when information is manipulated, society don't become safer. They become more unstable, more fragile. Since the original FOC statement on AI and human rights in 2020, a lot has happened. I only have to mention the introduction of ChatGPT, just referred to by Rasmus, in November 2022, and how different AI tools are evolving every single day. It is shaping governance, policy, and daily life. Its benefits are real, but so are the risks. And those risks are no longer theoretical. We now see AI used to represent dissent, distort public discourse, and facilitate gender-based violence. In some countries, these practices are becoming embedded in state systems with few checks and less or no transparency. At the same time, only a handful of private actors shape what we see. They influence democratic debate and dominate key markets without meaningful oversight. This double concentration of power threatens both public trust and democratic resilience. That's why the Netherlands, together with Germany and the International Center for Not-for-Profit Law, has led the update of the Freedom Online Coalition's joint statement on artificial intelligence and human rights. I'm grateful to all of you, governments, civil society, private sector, experts, for the thoughtful contributions that shaped it. This updated statement of our joint response to the present reality, this updated statement of our joint response to the present reality of AI. It sets out a principled and practiced vision for a human-centric AI, governed with care, grounded in human rights, and shaped through inclusive multi-stakeholder processes. It recognizes that risks arise across the AI lifecycle, not only through misuse, but from design to deployment. And the statement calls for clear obligations for both states and private sector, strong safeguards for those most at risk, especially women and girls. It calls for transparency and accountability in high-impact systems, and for cultural and linguistic inclusion. And attention should be given to the environmental and geopolitical dimensions of AI. Some claim that raising these issues could hinder innovation. We disagree. Innovation without trust is short-lived. Respect for rights is not a constraint, it's a condition for sustainable, inclusive progress. In the Netherlands, we have learned this the hard way. The use of strongly biased automated systems in welfare administration, designed to combat fraud, has led to one of our most painful domestic human rights failures. It showed how algorithms, if not designed and deployed correctly, can deepen injustice. And it takes already years trying to correct this personal harm it caused. In response, we have strengthened our approach to avoid similar accidents by applying human rights impact assessments, by applying readiness assessment methodology for AI and human rights with the UNESCO, and by launching a national algorithm registry, with now more than 1,000 algorithms being registered. But no country can solve this alone. AI transcends borders. So must be our response. As of today, right now, 21 countries have endorsed this joint statement. And we expect more in the days ahead. The text will be published after the session and remain open for further endorsements, including from non-FOC countries. Let us not stand idly by while others define the rules. Let us lead, clearly, collectively, and with conviction. Human rights must not be an afterthought in AI governance. They must be the foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Norman. I think you're absolutely right. Human rights needs to be the foundation of AI governance. And that was precisely what TFAIR, the Task Force on AI and Human Rights within the FOC, wanted to do with this joint statement. We wanted to build on previous statements and also make sure that there is a strong foundation for governance principles now, with actionable, clear recommendations for governments, civil society, and the private sector. We're really, really pleased with the joint statement. And again, want to thank the Netherlands and Germany for their co-leadership with ICNL and all of the TFAIR members and Freedom Online Coalition members for their support and input to the statement. We have an amazing, excellent panel today. I want to briefly introduce them, and then we'll get into questions. So joining us virtually is Maria Adabar, Cyber Ambassador of Germany, again, co-chair of the Task Force on AI and Human Rights. To my right, Mr. Divine Saleze Agbeti, Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority of Ghana. And next to him is Dr. Erica Moret, Director with UN and international organizations at Microsoft. So the first question, and this is directed at Divine. What is, in your view, the most urgent human rights risks posed by AI that this statement addresses?
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to thank the government of the Netherlands and also the FOC support unit for extending an invitation to Ghana to participate in such an important conversation. In my view, I think the most urgent human risk, or the most urgent human rights risk posed by AI are actually, hello? Okay. I think is the arbitrary use of AI for monitoring or surveillance, and also the use of AI for disinformation purposes, and also for the suppression of democratic participation. Particularly when such is embedded in a governance structure and within law enforcement systems without any transparency and accountability. Those two are very important. When we look at these concerns, I think the broader fear is that when this is unchecked, and also when they are governed by commercial interests, then what happens is that they erode fundamental freedoms or fundamental human rights, such as the freedom of speech and also privacy. And I think these are the key human rights concerns when it comes to artificial intelligence.
Great, thank you. And several of those are specifically addressed within the statement, including commercial interests, the environmental impact of artificial intelligence, as well as the direct threats to fundamental human rights, such as the freedom of expression, the right to privacy, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, and others. Ambassador Adebar, thank you so much for joining us. What convinced you and the government of Germany to support this statement, and what do you hope it will achieve?
Hey, hello everybody over there. I hope you can hear me very well. Thanks for having me today. It's a wonderful occasion to present and introduce our joint statement on artificial intelligence and human rights together. Thank you for the opening remarks, and thank you, Ernst. And together, as a TFAIR co-chair, I really would like to thank you all for coming and joining us in this open forum session. So having you all here, I think it's a really important sign of commitment for human rights and the broad multi-stakeholder participation these days. And that is even to become more important. And let me explain why. And in doing this, we sometimes it helps to really go back to ask ourselves, why do we do this? And what led the government of Germany to support the statement? And this is the very essence that AI stands out as one of the most, if not the most transformative innovation and challenge and technological thing that we have to confront. And it will, and it already does, change the way we live, work, express, and inform ourselves. And it will change the way how we form our opinion and exercise our democratic rights. And as already Ernst said, in times of global uncertainty, it offers a lot of promise, but poses also a lot of risks to people on the planet. And that is why we, as countries joining TFAIR and other fora, have to answer the question, in what kind of a digital future we want to live in. And I have to say, that's really the essence of a human-centered world with a non-negotiable respect for human rights is what we have to strive for. And this is the essence that the statement gives us. And let me quote, It is a world firmly rooted in and in compliance with international law, including international human rights law, not shaped by authoritarian interests or solely by commercial priorities. So, and only with a wise international governance, we can harness the promise that the technologies as AI give to us and hold the harm at bay. And therefore, it is essential to us to support the statement and to support its principles, because we must stand for or with a strong focus on human rights and a commitment to human-centric, safe, secure, and trustworthy approach to technology. And as we all know, this is not a given yet, not anywhere in the world. So we hope to convince countries, civil societies, and stakeholders to strive in every part of the world for our approach. This is crucial, and this is very much the essence, what we have to do. And I'm also, as Ernst just said, very happy to have now 21 states on board. This is, I think, the majority, and this gives our position even more weight. And also let me mention the rights of women and girls and all their diversity belong to groups posed to more vulnerability by AI. This is a strong commitment that we really clearly harness and wanted to see in there. So let me close by, I'm looking forward to question and answers, obviously, but let me close by saying that I'm also very happy to announce that Germany is able to double its funding for the Freedom Online Coalition with the double amount compared to last year. We work through our budget negotiations here in Germany, and so we were able to double the amount. And this is also something that makes me very happy and my colleagues, and hopefully we will make good use of our support for the Freedom Online Coalition. And with that heavy note, I get back over to you.
Thank you, Ambassador, and thank you for doubling the funding for the Freedom Online Coalition. I can speak, I'm also a member of the Freedom Online Coalition's advisory network, and I can say that we all believe that the FOC is a true driving force and leading vehicle to promote and protect fundamental freedoms and digital rights. And without the FOC, the governance structures that we have today, we believe would be much weaker. And we look forward to continuing to work with you, Ambassador, as well as the government of the Netherlands, as TFAIR, as well as all of the 42 other member states of the Freedom Online Coalition, to continue our important work. And we welcome your leadership, and as civil society, we look forward to working with you to achieve these aims for everyone. Dr. Moret, if I could turn to you. People had mentioned the commercial interest, and that is indeed something that is noted in the joint statement. What responsibility do private tech companies have to prevent AI from undermining human rights?
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, first of all, to the government of the Netherlands, to the FOC, excellencies, ambassadors. It's a real pleasure to be here today. I'm currently working at Microsoft, but in my past life, I was an academic and working at the UN, including on various issues in relating to human rights and international humanitarian law, and it's a real honor to be here. So as the tech industry representative on the panel, I'd like to address how private sector companies like Microsoft view responsibilities in ensuring AI respects and protects human rights. We are very lucky at Microsoft to have a series of teams and experts working on these areas across the company that fall under the newly created Trusted Technology Group. And this includes the Office of Responsible AI, the Technology for Fundamental Rights Group, and the Privacy, Safety and Regulatory Affairs Group. So I'll try and represent some of our collective work here in this area. In brief, we recognize that we must be proactive and diligent at every step in AI use, from design to deployment and beyond, to prevent AI from being used to violate human rights. And there's a number of key responsibilities that I would like to highlight here for companies to keep in mind when they're working as well with civil society and governments and other stakeholders. The first is adherence to international standards. Microsoft and many peers explicitly commit to the UN guiding principles on business and human rights as a baseline for their conduct across global operations. For us and other companies, this involves a policy commitment to respect human rights and an ongoing human rights due diligence process that enables to identify and remedy related human rights harms. And these principles make clear that while states must protect human rights, companies have an independent responsibility to respect fundamental rights. The next step is to embed human rights from the very beginning. We have a responsibility to integrate human rights considerations into the design and development of AI systems, and really paying attention to areas like has already been highlighted in relation to women and girls and other particularly vulnerable groups. By performing human rights assessments and monitoring, this enables us to identify risks and address them. The establishment and enforcement of ethical AI principles is a third very important area. At Microsoft, we have a clearly defined responsible AI principles which encompass fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency and accountability, which guide all of our AI development. And our teams must follow our responsible AI standards, which is a company-wide policy that translates these principles into specific requirements. Beyond human rights due diligence that I've already mentioned, we also work on protecting privacy and data security. So safeguarding users' data is a non-negotiable responsibility for our company and also for our peers. AI often involves big data, so companies must implement privacy by design, minimizing data collection, securing data storage, and ensuring compliance with privacy laws. The sixth area I'd like to highlight here is the vital importance of fairness and inclusivity. Tech firms have the responsibility for ensuring that their AI does not perpetuate bias and discrimination, and through working with partners at the FOC and then across civil society, we can put into measure active safeguards and ongoing work to tackle challenges in this area. And again, I'd like to highlight the important note in the FOC statement that AI harms are especially pronounced for marginalized groups. Ensuring transparency and explainability would be my seventh point of what we should be taking into consideration here, so that people understand how decisions are made and can identify potential challenges, but then also mitigation approaches. The final area I'd like to emphasize here is the need for collaboration. We're, of course, facing a fragile moment in terms of multilateralism and geopolitical tensions around the world, and collaboration across borders and across sectors has never been more important. And so engaging through multi-stakeholderism in AI governance, AI regulation, developments is as much our responsibility as anyone else's. And I think the more the private sector can be working with civil society and with academia to improve its own work in these areas, and to contribute as well through things like red teaming and other types of reporting, this is a really important next step, I believe, in our collective work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Moray. I think the holistic approach from Microsoft is a fantastic model that I hope other companies will adopt or model their systems and internal standards after. And I really do appreciate the final point on collaboration and next steps. And so with that, Ambassador Norman, what are the most important next steps to ensure AI systems promote human rights and development while avoiding harm?
Well, thank you. It's, there are a number of issues we can do as governments, as international community. But first and foremost, I think it's important to have the good, strong regulation. We know, of course, there's an international discussion on that. There are different views across the ocean about that. But at the same time, you create a level playing field. It's predictability is important. So as long as companies also know what the rules are, what the guardrails are, you protect the citizens in Europe and create trust, and then also in the products. So I think it's with the EU AI Act, that's a good example. And we put rights, transparency and accountability at the core. It's risk-based, not blocking innovation, and I think that's a crucial step. And you see that also a lot of countries outside the European Union look with great interest to the EU regulations and see how they can adapt it. At the same time, we have to continue to work at multilateral level. The discussion on how to implement oversight, to organize oversight, and to ensure a safe implementation of AI. We have the Council of Europe's AI Framework Convention, which is the next step. We just like we had before on cybercrime, the Budapest Convention. And I think it's very important to really support the UN's work in human rights. Especially the Office of the Human Rights Council, the Commissioner, the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights is important to keep on supporting them. They have important initiatives which are in BTEC, which also to promote human rights in the private sector. So these are important steps we have to continue. And as Erica from Microsoft already mentioned, the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights is an important tool also for the private sector to be used. And finally, as an important step too, we as governments play an important role with procurement. So you have to use procurement as a tool also to force companies to deliver products which are respecting human rights, which have human rights as a core in their design of their products, and ensure that they provide safe products to the governments which are used broadly in the society. And I think that's a very concrete step we can use as governments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. I think procurement is a really great final point to mention. Ambassador Adebar, same question to you. What are the most important next steps that we can take to ensure AI systems promote human rights and development while avoiding harm?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Ernst just answered it, I think. So we fully can agree with that and just said. It is moving forward on a lot of fronts and different fora. That starts with the EU AI Act and its implementation and the promotion of its principles. We know certain aspects are being discussed, especially by industries and worldwide, and this is totally okay, and this is rightfully so. But we can start and have a discussion on things like risk management and so on and so forth. But what the EU AI Act really sparks is a discussion on how we want to manage and govern ourselves with AI and with a good and human-centric AI accessible for everybody. So this is one part. As EU member states, UNESCO recommendations of 2021 are another one, and we are looking forward also to the results of the third global forum on the ethics of AI held in Bangkok at this very moment. And also we would invite all FOC members and interest actors to join the Hamburg Declaration on Responsible AI for the SDGs recently stated. And in implementation of the Global Digital Compact, we're currently discussing modalities resolution and modalities for implementing working groups, a panel, and a worldwide dialogue on AI. This is very much important to us. And one final point, AI, unfortunately, is also a tool for transnational repression. And transnational repression is a phenomenon, let me put it like that we as German government really want to focus more on, because it's a fairly, not a new phenomenon, it's very, very old, but in terms of digital and AI, we are reaching here new levels, unfortunately. And so this is also a subject we want to discuss more and bring it in international fora and on the international human rights agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. And Director Agbedi, same question to you. What are the most important next steps to ensure AI systems promote human rights and development?
Thank you. Firstly, we have to align AI with international human rights standards. In that, for example, currently the Cybersecurity Authority is working with the Data Protection Commission in Ghana to actually explore a redress for this. Secondly, we can look at the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. The ICCPR can underpin national, regional, and international efforts to redress global AI governance in that aspect. And we can also look at the multi-stakeholder participation, which is foundational to this. The ecosystem must include civil society to amplify marginal voices, technical communities to bring transparency into algorithms, and academia to provide evidence-based insights, private sector to ensure responsible innovation, as well as youth and indigenous voices to reflect world diversity. I think these are the ways to do so.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for, again, very comprehensive ideas from both ambassadors and Director Agbedi. Now, we would like to open up the floor to all of you. We have some time for question and answers. We have a microphone over to my left, your right, and we would welcome questions on the joint statement and how best to promote human rights and artificial intelligence.
Hello.
Works. It works.
Ah, all right. Sorry. Yeah, it's like to handle all these devices. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for such a great panel. And I'm super happy that Freedom Online Coalition, together with the private sector, is coming up with some, not all, I mean, I would not call it solutions, but at least some recommendations. My name is Svetlana Zenz, and I'm working on Asia region. And I mean, basically my work is actually to bring the bridge between civil society and tech and telecoms in Asia. And also they've been mentioned today, BTech project, which is also a great project and was like one of the start of many other initiatives in the sector. I really hope that all of that kind of initiatives will get together. But my question will be actually to FOC members, representatives, and to the private sector. So for a start, I mean, we know that Microsoft works, I mean, known as a company which works closely with many governments because you have products which provide the operability of those governments. And in some countries, especially with oppressive laws and oppressive regimes, it's hard to make sure that the human rights are protected, human rights of users are protected. So do you have any vision how to, you know, diminish those risks? Maybe there should be more civil society action on that side, like being more practical on that side. For the FOC side, I mean, we've been working with the FOC members for several of years, starting from Myanmar, where like we were one of the first who engaged FOC members in this statement on internet shutdowns. FOC, what can you do in the side of, I mean, of course, statement is great, but like in a practical way, how we can make sure that human rights are protected on the physical world? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll take one more question, and then we'll answer, and then if there's time and additional questions, we'll go back. So please, sir.
Thank you. Good day. My name is Carlos Vera from IGF Ecuador. I read the declaration in the FOC website. It would be nice if we can have some space to comment on the declaration outside the FOC members, and even to sign our support for that declaration. Some government even doesn't know that the FOC exists, so maybe we can also create some warning in the civil society space. Thank you very much for the great work.
Thank you so much. I think that's a great suggestion, and we actually have a meeting with the Task Force on AI and Human Rights tomorrow, and I will raise this very point and see what we can do to have wider adoption, especially from civil society support. So back to the first question. It's really a question on how we, whether FOC governments, the private sector, and potentially civil society, can protect human rights regarding AI systems, especially in repressive regimes. I hope I got that question correct. Okay, thank you. So anybody who would like to start us off?
Maybe just kick off, but I'm sure that others also have to want to contribute. This is online and offline a dilemma. It's not a specific, the fact that there are tools, of course, also by big tech companies like Microsoft, of course, gives them a responsibility to look at the guardrails of their tools. But at the same time, platforms are being used for human rights violations and to threaten people. But it happens offline as well. But the point is, as an FOC, wherever I go as a cyber ambassador, and I'm sure that Maria is doing the same, we discuss the role of FOC. So also with governments who are not a logical member of the FOC, we always explain what the agenda is of the FOC. Why is the FOC there? What are we doing? And why is it important, the topic on the agenda? You mentioned internet shutdowns. I can assure you, I've been discussing that with many countries who use this tool as politically. And it's inside the rooms, so you can have more open discussion than if you do it only online with statements, etc. So it's also important to have it inside rooms, closed door sessions. Why are you using these tools? Can't you do it? Can't you avoid this? Because you harm also a lot of civil services. You harm the role of journalists, which are crucial. So it's one of the topics, just as an example, which I often mention. But also bringing up then, why is the FOC there? And the FOC is already since 2011. So it's known by many governments, but also for new colleagues or new people working in the governments. We always stress the important role of it and also explain why it's there and why it's important to respect human rights online, as it is important to do it offline.
Thank you, Ambassador. Ambassador Adebar, did you want to come in as well?
Thank you so much. I can only underline what Ernst just said. It's important, and we do our work and spreading the word and have those discussions formally, but also informally, in four-eye setting, politely, diplomatically sometimes, and in another times really straightforward and forcefully is the way to go. And the FOC is a very, very important forum for doing this and a reference point for everybody of us, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. And maybe Dr. Moret, sorry, Dr. Betty, please.
All right, thank you. I think that as much as we are advocating for FOC members to ensure the human rights online, especially when it comes to AI, I think FOC should also be promoting responsible use of citizens online first. I mean, in this short period, I've been working on the Cybersecurity Authority. I have seen how citizens have used AI to manipulate online contents, to lie against government, to even create cryptocurrency pages in the name of the president, etc., etc. So it works both ways. I think FOC should be advocating for responsible use of citizens, and at the same time, when this is being advocated, then FOC can engage with governments also to ensure that the citizens actually have the right to use these systems and use it freely without the fear of arrest or the fear of intimidation. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Moret.
Thank you. It's quite hard to build on these excellent points already, and can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just to add a few extra points on what has already been said. I would say that from the private sector perspective and from Microsoft viewpoint, we take a principled and proactive approach to this particular question, including due diligence before entering high-risk markets, which is guided by the UN guiding principles. We limit or decline services like facial recognition where misuse is likely. We also resist overbroad government data requests and publish transparency reports where misuse is likely. And to hold ourselves accountable. We offer tools like Account Guard to protect civil society journalists and human rights defenders from cyber threats. And we also advocate globally for responsible AI and digital use, including through very important processes like the Global Digital Compact, and also, of course, in fora such as the IGF and WSIS and so on. Also, just to say, I'd really like to highlight here the really important developments that have been going on in terms of AI data-driven tools to protect against human rights abuses in under authoritarian regimes. And many tech companies are working proactively with the human rights community for this. We personally are very actively engaged with the Office of the High Commissioner on Human Rights across numerous different projects in terms of monitoring human rights abuses and helping to detect risks, and also in areas like capacity building and AI training in order to properly harness the tools and also come up with new solutions where needs are identified. Thanks.
Thank you. Great answers to what is a very tough question and a really never-ending battle to prevent abuses or misuse of AI systems. We have a couple questions from our colleagues joining us online. The first is, what are any global frameworks with binding obligations on states for the responsible use and governance of AI? And the second question is, how can transparency in AI decision-making be improved without exposing sensitive data, particularly to ensure that the right to privacy as protected under international human rights law is indeed protected? So would any of the panelists like to jump in on either of those two questions? We have about 5 minutes left. Please, Dr. Moret.
Okay, maybe I'll just kick it off talking about the importance of the GDC that I already mentioned, the Global Digital Compact, and I'm sure everybody in the room knows about it already. It came out of the Pact for the Future at the last UN General Assembly, the first time every UN member state in the world came together to agree a path on AI governance. And I think it's incredibly important. There's the two new bodies that are being developed right now, Dialogue and the panel. And Microsoft has been engaged at every step of the process, sitting at the table, and we've been very grateful to have a voice there. And I think the more private sector, but also, of course, civil society, particularly those without the usual access to these types of processes, is incredibly vital, but not just to have a seat at the table, but to actually have a voice at the table. So the more we can find inclusive, fair, transparent, participatory ways that those, particularly in the global majority, can have a meaningful way of engaging in these very, very important developments through this multi-stakeholder model is to be encouraged, in my view. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ambassador?
I would first give the floor to Maria before I take away.
Apologies.
Oh, that's kind, and I would use this opportunity to again put your attention to the Council of Europe Framework Convention on AI and Human Rights, because really this is something was hardly negotiated. It's global, and we would strive for more member states to join, and it's open for all. It's a globally open convention. You don't have to be member of the Council of Europe, so please have a look or tell your state representatives respectively to have a look and join. You can always approach, I think, any of EU member states for more information. The second internationally binding or hopefully really to be implemented thing is the Global Digital Compact, already mentioned. And it is important, I think, because our headcount, in our headcount, we came to the conclusion that this is really the only truly global forum to discuss AI. And if we wouldn't do it there, then about more than 100 states worldwide would not be present at any important table to discuss AI governance, because those states are probably not member of the G7, G20, UNESCO, OECD, or not able in terms of resources to join those discussions in depth. So this makes the Global Digital Compact even more important. And the EU AI Act has, by its nature, aspects of AI governance and principles inherent. So this would be the third framework I would like to mention here. Thank you.
Ambassador, please.
And now I can just add a few points on what Maria said. What the EU AI Act can have is what we call the Brussels effect. That was actually also happening with the GDPR. That after we agreed on the GDPR and had to implement it, that you saw a lot of other countries who started copying the similar legislation. Also in the US, you saw a number of states, notably California, who also adopted similar legislation as the GDPR. So I think that was a very important effect, and I am quite hopeful that the EU AI Act will have a similar effect. Maria mentioned already the Council of Europe's AI Framework Convention. If we would strive for a binding framework within the whole UN, it's going to be very difficult. But if you see this more smaller coalitions, I mentioned the Budapest Convention on cybercrime. What we have seen just during the negotiations on the UN Cybercrime Treaty, that more and more members from other regions decided to join actually the Budapest Convention from the Pacific, from Africa, from other regions. They decided, well, we want to be part of the Budapest Convention, which is very effective, very concrete cooperation on this topic. So I think that's also a good example how we can work in more smaller coalitions to ensure with the oil spill effect to conquer the world with good, strong legislation as well for other countries.
Yeah. Dr. Gbetti.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent points made by everyone here so far on this. And I would just like to add the palm oil process also, which is there, and it promotes the responsible use of these emerging technologies, which includes the artificial intelligence, and it requires members. So we encourage other states to sign up as well to it, and also member states to implement the convention so that we can all encourage responsible use of these technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think that's a really excellent point to end on, is that there are some very important, very significant binding governance mechanisms, like the Convention on AI from the Council of Europe. And that really can mimic the Budapest Convention, which has become the leading authority for combating and preventing cybercrimes. So this is a bit of a call to action from civil society. Let us, the FOC, member states, and FOC Advisory Network, help you inform your governments on these processes, and let us be able to help you advocate for them to adopt, sign, and enact them. So it's been a fantastic panel so far. Ambassador Norman, please, some closing remarks from you.
Well, thank you very much, Zach, for moderating also this panel. First of all, the statement is online right now. So go to the website Freedom Online Coalition and just copy the statement, put it on the social media, spread the word. So that's already important. And I would really like to thank everyone who had been involved in drafting the statement, both from the members of the Freedom Online Coalition as the advisory network, who played an extremely important, meaningful role in strengthening the statement. We had the in-person meetings. One of the first ones was in the RightsCon conference in February this year. And we had a number of online coalitions. So a lot of work has been put in drafting and strengthening the statement. So I would really like to thank already the countries who has decided to sign on the statement. And I'm confident that many more will follow in the days and weeks to come. And finally, I really would like to thank, on behalf, I think, of Maria and her team, and Zach and your team, and my team from the Netherlands, to thank all of you, first of all, to be present, and those who have been involved in drafting the statement for your dedication, your work, and your shared purpose on this important topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.